I've been an expat now for roughly 8 years, and during this time, I've had the best times of my life and also some of the worst times of my life. But it has been such a big part of my adult life. I'm saying life a lot. It has been such a big part of my adult life that I really want to share my experiences with you, because like if you clicked on this video, you are trying to make the decision of should I become an expat or not, even if it's just for 2 years. And I feel like with the experiences that I've had, the people that I've met, the countries where I stayed in and traveled to, I can help you make that decision a little bit easier, because it's not a hard decision. It's not a difficult decision. No, that's not what it's not an easy decision. There we go. It's not an easy decision, and I think that I can help you. I've met people during this 8 years. I've met expats that's been expats for the majority of their adult lives, like 20, 30 years that they live in a specific country or like different Asian countries, right? I've met expats that just want to come over for 2 or 3 years. They just want to experience the freedom of living, meeting new people, immersing themselves in different cultures. I've met expats that can't function in their own countries. They're just not comfortable. They just can't adapt to society's norms in their own country, and so they come to Asia or to different parts of the world because for them it's easier to live there. They can marry maybe a person from those cultures, and it's easier for them, right? I've met people that just want to come over and save money, like for a few years, save money, then go back to their own country and live more financially free than they would have if they didn't come to this site. So I think with this background that I have, I can make this decision a little bit easier for you. So from my perspective, like right off, before I give you all the pros and cons and stuff, I am speaking from my experience as an expat. I've only lived in Asia, all right? And I've only lived in 3 countries, Vietnam, China, and Myanmar. I currently live in Myanmar, right? So this is my experience, and I know that other expats has different ideas and different experiences, and they will tell you different things maybe, all right? But like I said, I've been here for a few years, so I think that I can help you, all right? And it's the same when I speak about other stuff in this video. Please remember that it is my views, okay? And it's not necessarily going to be the same for you, but a lot of these things, a lot of expats that I've spoken to, they do feel the same way, all right? So what would I say? 100% yes, you should come and be an expat for at least 2 years of your life, all right? There's many reasons, and I'm going to get into them, some of them now, and I'm going to make videos about all of these things to help you. But the main reason for me, but I think for anybody, is if you become an expat, you will be challenged as a person. Things and people and your circumstances will help you grow as a person, because you will be confronted with your values, your beliefs, your society's norms, how you grew up, your beliefs around relationship and money. You will be challenged, right? I feel like people that live a normal life, and by normal life, I mean people that the majority of people in the world, you guys are the normal, okay? We as the expats, we're the weird people, all right? So if you went to school and then you went to uni and you started a job and you met your wife and you had children, and like you live that sort of life in a big city or a small city, you may be in the same city, but I feel like people living like that, most people, fall into a bubble quite quickly, where you only meet the same people, you only have the same experiences over and over again. Nothing really challenges your beliefs, because everybody you associate yourself that's in this bubble has sort of the same beliefs as you and values as you. So and this is really a question, because I haven't lived that life in a very long time. What things in your life, and I'm seriously asking, is which things in your life, if you are living in that life, that little bubble of yours for 5 or 6 years, What outside things challenges you to grow as a person? Like to question all these things. Like I can think of a few, like there's of course things that will challenge you, but I think like very few situations in life challenges you as a person to grow as much as living in a different country, where things are totally different and you have to be like on your A game the whole time, otherwise you're going to struggle, right? And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing for me, because that is exactly what expat life means, right? I've met people from, specifically in my last 4 years, from Canada, from Australia, from America, from England. And as an expat, you literally meet new people, like these type of people from different cultures, on a weekly basis. There's never a time where you don't meet new people. Okay, depends on the city and the place where you live, but in most cases, you will always meet new people, right? And it's these people that they grew up in a different society than yours, so their values are different. And now they are challenging you to question, to ask yourself, the values that I see about relationships, about like my spiritual life, about my family life, about my job, money, are these things actually correct? Are they like should I be open to change? And it's also difficult because you do experience all these things, and you need to be very strong in your values and your belief system, but open and fair, because if you hear things from other people and you need to ask yourself, like, should I change or not? And if you really believe strongly in what you are and those values, then you should stick to those values. And having other people the whole time telling you maybe that it's wrong, or like reminding you that they're different, like, will challenge this. But once again, it helps you look inside of yourself and do that sort of stuff. All right, so that's the first one. The first big thing is that. The second big thing, right, is the living costs, specifically in Asia. I don't know in Europe, it's definitely higher in Europe, okay, but you can still save probably in Europe. But in Asia, depends on the country, but the country where I've lived in, the living costs are so low and your salaries are a lot high, so high that you are able to save so much money, right? If you live in countries like Hong Kong, Singapore, you go to a city like Seoul, Korea, maybe Singapore and Beijing, the living costs are extremely high there. But your salaries are also proportionate to that, right? And so you still save money. You won't save as much money as you do living in Vietnam or Myanmar, but you're still going to save more money than you would have in a different country. So if that's sort of your goal, then 100% you have to do it, because you are going to save more money than you do living in your own country, right? It just gives you that financial freedom. I know, because I've met people from Australia and Canada and America, I know that the salaries that they get in their own countries are sort of the same as what they get in Vietnam and Bangkok or Cambodia. But because the living costs are so much lower, they can still save more. Whereas a South African, if you're a South African, you're listening to this, like, you're earning 3, sometimes 4 times more than you would have as a teacher, for example, in South Africa, right? And I'm not just speaking about teachers, I'm speaking about lots of different occupations. But as a teacher, you're earning so much more money. And because the South African living costs, if you're earning dollars or pounds or whatever, is so low. When you're earning rand, like our currency, then it's extremely high and it's difficult. But when you're earning dollars, like, you can save so much money. Go back in a few years, you can have a down payment on a house, or you can invest in the stock market. You can put all that money in stock markets. It gives you that financial freedom. And that sort of freedom leads me to my next thing, right? Being an expat is so freeing. You don't stress about the small, mundane, daily things that you would if you're living in this bubble. You don't have to worry about paying a mortgage. Well, unless you have one at home, but now you're saving money, so you don't have to do that, right? You don't have to worry about finding a place because your job, your contract, this is an added benefit. They will give you a place to live. You don't have to worry about finding health insurance, medical insurance, because your job pays that. You don't have to worry about your country and the safety in your own country, or the bureaucracy in your own country, because now you're living as an expat, and you could, if it's not a good idea, but you could put blinders in front of you and not worry about what's going on in this country. But you know, that's also a sense of freedom. I won't recommend that, because if you live in Myanmar, for example, I'd like to understand the people, the situation that's going on here. It makes me grow, right? If I was living in South Africa, I would never even know about things that happens in Vietnam or Myanmar, like these things that happens. So an expat, it's an amazing sense of freedom, and the freedom to just literally pack your bags on a Friday night, fly to Bangkok or fly to Phu Quoc in Vietnam or wherever, spend a weekend there, then fly back to your own country, the country where you live in. It's so easy and it's so cheap. Like, where will you, if you live in America, let's quickly do a weekend flight. Like, very few people can afford that. Very few people have the freedom to do that. And so we can just do that. We travel so much because everything is so close. And if you live in Europe, it's even closer, because you just get on a train and you do it. But you have that freedom of doing it, right? But everything is not sunshine and roses, of course. Like, you get your difficult things. The thing that I struggle the most with is the loneliness associated with expat life. Now, I know that I just said that there's so many people that you meet, and you're being involved, like in this cauldron of different cultures and different people. But what I mean by loneliness is I miss my country. I miss South Africa. I miss my family. I miss having braais barbecue, the way better version of a barbecue. I miss having braais with my friends and my family. I miss eating South African meat. Like, I'm sorry Australia, I'm sorry Japan, there's no better meat in the world than South African meat. It's the best. I'm like, no argument, okay? So I miss that. And so living in a different country with a different culture, even if you have South African friends, it's just not the same as living in that country. And for me, that's a big issue. And I know for most expats it's not, because they sort of want to go away from their country for a few years. But I do miss my country and I miss my family, and it brings a big sense of loneliness into my life that I have to deal with on a daily basis, probably on a weekly basis. I have to be able to do that, right? The other thing, and sorry, just to get back to that point, you can also accept a job in a very small country, a very small town, I mean, where there's not a lot of expats, and the locals living there, they don't speak English. So making friends, meeting people in those little smaller cities is very, very difficult. And then you're lonely because you are lonely. You're alone there, right? Some people also struggle because they are introverts. And even though there's so many opportunities to meet people and I'm sitting halfway in the sun here. Let me turn this. Because there's so many different people that you can meet, you're an introvert. And so you do struggle meeting people. And then it becomes lonely in that sense as well, right? Then, like I said, it's not all sunshine and roses. The second biggest thing, right, for me is the bureaucracy in these Asian countries. I don't know, of course in Europe it will be a lot easier, North America it will probably be easier, but in Asia they do things 100% differently than what we do it in Western countries. Just for example, like renewing your visas takes so much more time because there's so much more paperwork. The processes for expats takes a lot longer. If you have to, your job gives you an apartment, yes, but you still have to find that apartment. And then once you find it, it's a lot of things that you have to sign, and then you have to go to the police station and register that yourself and that new apartment at the police station. Every time that you move, you have to register because they need to know where all the expats are, right? What else? Like things like renewing your passports, maybe your passport is gone. Or just going to the hospital. Oh my goodness, going to the hospital is always such a big thing, because depends on your medical insurance. Then the hospital doesn't pay it, then you have to pay up front, but then that's difficult, but then you have to put a claim in, and it's just, I get frustrated. I'm a person that gets frustrated very quickly, and these type of things are very, very frustrating for me. Just the language barrier as well sometimes bothers me. So these are two things that you have to really look at when you decide to become an expat. And I'm going to make a few videos about this, because there's so much to talk about. And if I already have made this video, so if you're looking at this in the future and there's more videos, like, go and look at them, because I'm going to go into detail with all of these little points that I've made now to sort of help you to really make that decision. But in the end, with all the bad stuff, I would still recommend you do it. It's going to be such an experience for 2 years, good or bad, it doesn't matter, because you're going to go back to your country and you're going to appreciate what you have. Even if you go back into the same bubble, same friends, you're going to appreciate what you have. You're going to have a bit more savings as well. All right, so that's me. That's what I want to talk about in this video. I hope that it helped you a little bit, but like I said, more detail to come. All right, enjoy your day, guys. Cheers.